Today we're doing the news for time. Let's get into it. Let's start light with baby news. Jacob Heppner has been trying to prove for years that he isn't secretly a Pancheck brother and is continuing to do a really poor job of it as he and his wife welcome beautiful twin baby girls into the world. Super excited for Jacob and his wife. Here's a picture of Jacob taking advantage of that forearm length of his doing some baby curls. Congratulations, Jake. Andrea Nestler just won her master's division at the CrossFit Games after having a baby on March 13th. Now, let's put that in perspective. 24.3 ran from March 14th to the 18th. So she did the hardest workout of the Open 4 days removed from giving birth. That is absolutely unreal to me. You guys can read the article in the morning chalk up. You should all repeat after me. Men ain't shit. Also in competition news, you have two competitions next weekend. You have Wodapalooza SoCal, which will be Wodapalooza's first foray into Southern California, and WheelWod, which is going to have their first CrossFit Games competition individually, are both going to go head to head over the weekend. Now, fortunately, both of these are going to be streamed, so you can watch both. You can catch Wodapalooza on the Loud and Live Sports YouTube channel. WheelWod's going to be streamed on WheelWod YouTube channel, as well as WheelWodGames.com. Also in sport news, Tia-Clair Toomey released an endorsement this week of the PFAA. You can read her entire statement on her Instagram page. And a lot of you guys have criticized that the statement was really just a lot of words and no substance. But if you'll permit me, I'm going to share an opinion that will maybe give it some context. I think this entire statement is really about her legacy. Tia has more individual titles than anyone ever has and likely ever will. She's a new mom, and from what I know of her, she's a thoughtful and caring person. She has to be in the final years of her competitive career, and I would imagine the thought of what she's going to leave behind and her legacy, if you will, has to be weighing heavily on her. Regardless of whether you appreciate the support of the PFAA or you hate her support of it, as Dave Castro once said, Tia is the most dominant athlete of all time in the sport of fitness. And if we can agree on that, we should be able to agree that Tia's been a fantastic representative of our sport, and she's earned the right to share whatever opinion she chooses. Speaking of the PFAA, they had a meeting yesterday. I don't have any word yet on the content of that meeting. When I get it, I'll share that with you guys. But I did come across some info I thought was interesting. Many of you have been asking, who is the PFAA and who do they think they are making demands of CrossFit? Well, it turns out that in order to be a part of the PFAA, you have to have qualified for the CrossFit Games in a rolling 24 months. Why that's interesting is that means you have 143 CrossFit Games athletes that are currently eligible to be a part of the PFAA. And of those 143, 90 of them are voting members. So this basically means you have 90 voting athletes that are a veritable who's who of the sport. That's really interesting to me, and it should be even more interesting as they get better collectively organized to see what they're able to accomplish to improve the sport. And then finally, Don Faul came out of the Batcave at CrossFit headquarters and went to Washington. In an Instagram post from TrueMed co-founder Callie Meads, he was in Washington this week to talk to lawmakers about unlocking HSA and FSA spending on health brands like CrossFit in order to ensure more flexibility in how Americans can spend their healthcare dollars. I'm still trying to figure out why CrossFit doesn't advertise and talk about these sort of meetings more often or at all for that matter. Affiliate owners are constantly questioning what their dollars get them in support, and activity like this goes a long way into helping them understand it. I'm going to keep a close eye on this moving forward to help understand why they don't talk about this more, and I'll share that with you as I get it. That's the news for the week. Hey, before you go, do me a favor though, hit the subscribe button. Every new subscriber really helps me with the channel and in turn helps me bring you new content each and every week. Take care.